Opening day at Santa Anita. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas to all of you. I am recording this one early on Christmas Eve, and everyone's getting ready for the big day, Christmas, and then opening day at Santa Anita Thursday, December the 26th. I'm going to run through the full card right here for opening day. A few things I want to mention, though, before we get into them. Anything you need for your handicapping, remember, DRF has you covered every racing day at Santa Anita. So they've got the past performances, the clocker reports, and the DRF picks right now. Shop.drf.com. Head on over there. Every racing day, everything you need. Also, holiday season, like you're looking for some last minute gift for someone for Christmas. Check out the DRF gift cards. Perfect for someone who you know is going to be playing the races. You can get them a gift card. They can get some DRF swag, or they can get racing forms, past performances for races and race days that they're going to bet. Then for you contest players, there's the big Santa Anita Opening Day Challenge. It's a $1,500 entry if you have not qualified to get in there. It is a big, big tournament where you can win NHC seats, Pegasus World Cup betting challenge seats, and big-time cash money. So check that out. Opening day, play along over at Xpressbet, or you can play live at Santa Anita. I'll be out there live on Thursday at Santa Anita, hoping we can lead you to a few winners. Let's take a look at the card for Santa Anita with these daily racing form past performances. So I'm looking at the all access past performances because what they do, they give you the opportunity to click between Formulator, where you can click on race replays and charts, and you can click on things, and then they take you to another page where they give you statistics or information. Maybe you don't even want all of that. You just want the regular form like you read at the racetrack. They've got it for you right here. Or you can go to Timeform US PPs, and you can get a look at how Timeform US thinks the races will shape up, pace scenarios, and you can get their specific past performances. So all access PPs. Let's take a look at Santa Anita Opening Day, Thursday, December the 26th. Race number 1. Remember, early post time, 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. I like the 3 a little bit in here. Oscar Joy. So if you go through the form, he went a mile last time out. This is a 6.5 furlong race down the hill. So his 2 races going a mile on November the 30th and then back in July. Both of them, when you watch the race, you can see it's just a little too far for him. Sitting in a good spot. He's more forwardly placed. He just doesn't really have any late punch. Now he's going to be going 6.5 furlongs. This really feels perfect because his only other try going 6.5 was on October the 6th. And that was a career best effort where he earned an 80 Beyer speed figure. He finished second behind a horse named Central Dispatch, who we're actually going to see later on the card, later in the week, actually. Central Dispatch is in really nice form, has won 3 of the last 4 and 2 for 2 on the turf. And this was a live race where there were 3 next out winners. So cutting back after tiring at a mile, now the blinkers come on. So at the sprint distances, he's not been as fast early. Those blinkers may help him, and just overall may help him just show a little more focus. Flavian Pratt jumps aboard, major positive. October the 31st, completely misses the break. He's last of 7. He's about 5+ lengths off. He tips out widest of all. It was a fine third. He was chasing a lone speed winner that day. Last time out, he had some traffic at the start. He was up to 4th. He loomed up, or this was back on October the 6th, excuse me. That was when he was chasing Central Dispatch, and that was a lone speed winner. He was a really good second, kind of loomed up. And then last time, as I mentioned, forward, too far, backed up. Really like the profile for Oscar Joy. The 8 horse looks like the one to beat, Mas Rapido, getting a little class relief, another one cutting back. Also thought the 9, Count of Amazonia, second start back after the long layoff. Really nice fit here. Another one, if you wanted to include more, would be the 4, Money Makes Money. Should be forward in here. You start going through this field. Noble Reflection's pretty quick. There's probably 2 or 3 speed horses. I don't know how fast they'll be going early. So Money Makes Money, I could see being forward in here. Then what do we do with horses like the 1, News at 10, who I think fits pretty well. If you wanted to go deeper or more under horses, the 5, Intuit, is another one that I maybe would sneak in somewhere. Even the 12 to the outside. Western Avenue. But it all starts for me with Oscar Joy. I'm going to make a win wager on this one to begin. And that kind of 3, 4, 8, and 9 maybe as the top tier. Put the 3-horse on top in race number 1. That's how I'm stacking them. Let's move along to race number 2. This one is a 2-year-old maiden special weight going 6 furlongs. The one Madacat Road was second in the Bob Hope behind a nice horse named Bullard in the debut. The dam was a grade 3 winner who won 4 of the first 5 siblings, 4 of the first 5 starts. All 5 siblings to race are winners. Horse was a little bit unprepared at the start. 2 or 3 lengths off. Got a nice setup, though, behind 3 horses that were battling. And the horse that beat him actually came from off the pace, too. So it's set up for horses coming from off the pace. He was just no match for the winner. But he was a strong second. That was in a graded stakes race. And now he drops back in and faces maidens with the blinkers coming on. This is not a really strong group on paper at all. And he's definitely the horse you start with. But he does draw the rail. And he wasn't the fastest out of the gate in his debut. So not a cinch by any means with the 2-year-old here. I thought the 3 Father Ted was interesting, showed a little ability in the mornings. And Glatt been rolling the last year and a half plus, honestly. San Saba is the other Baffert that's going to take money from the outside. So for me, the 3 Father Ted would be the value, the price play that I'm going to throw into my pick 5s. A lot of people will probably be singling the 1 Madacat Road. Moving to race number 3. This one is a mile on the turf for 2-year-old fillies. The 1 Slick drops out of the Jimmy Durante, was in tight, was just in a bad spot, had nowhere to go, lost some positioning, got shuffled back a little bit, kept to the inside. So deserves another shot now, back in with maiden specials. Lila, expect this gal to show more speed. I think you want to throw her in your pick 5s because she was faster. She actually broke on top in the race. And then she took back a little bit to 4th. Now with the blinkers coming on, you have a real aggressive rider. Luis Saez jumping aboard. Don't be shocked to see her either right on the lead or very close. Obvious case for Lee's baby girl dropping back out of graded stakes company. The problem is she's had a couple races where she really looked like she was the winner. She got to put away the rest of the field and opened up a little bit and then got nailed late. So she's probably the most proven in this field. The horse who I like the most, though, is Making a Rita. So let's watch this race. Thought it was a pretty good effort. She's the number 2 in this one that we're going to be watching.
Going in.
We also see Lila, who's the 5, who I was just talking about. So watch the 5 and the 2. 5 horse is fastest. So she's right on the lead, right? You don't see that in the running line, and then all of a sudden it looks like she's 4th or 5th. But she was quickest and just didn't go on with it. So we're watching the 2 and the 4. Watch the 2 now, who's down towards the inside, not in a great spot. So we're looking at the 2 with the red cap and went in the 9th spot here in a field of 12. So 8 or 9 lengths off of it. And you can see just in a bad spot because there's so many horses in front of her and she's down on the inside. You see Lila, the 5, who kind of just took back and never really was able to kind of go on with it again. But here comes the 2, Making a Rita, right? So middle move up into contention here, but nowhere to go. So has to kind of keep being asked to hold that position because she now lost her momentum and she kind of is starting to lose touch. But now she gets a seam and she pushes back through. Remember, this is first time out for a 2-year-old going long on the turf. Now, again, look at the 2, kind of keeps to the inside. Even at this point, when the top couple have separated, this horse is still trying down on the inside and ends up being not far out of second. There's basically a group of 4 horses in the second flight. So I thought that race is a little bit better than it might have looked on paper. And I definitely think there's some room for improvement here with the number 2, Making a Rita. 6, 5, 1, 3. That's my top tier. The outside runner, Behaven, would also throw this one in. Wouldn't be shocked to see some improvement from this filly stepping foot on the turf now. Pratt jumps aboard. But I like the 6 a little bit. Think the 3 could offer you some nice value. I feel like the 1 and 5, kind of the horses to beat in here. There's a look at race number 3 at Santa Anita on opening day. Let's move to race number 4. Probably one of the least strong opinions I had in any race. This is a Calbre optional 21st level allowance. The 1 Stop Digging comes off of 3 consecutive runner-up efforts. All of those were going a mile. So the cutback to 6.5 should really help give her a little more punch. She won races going 6 furlongs and 5 furlongs on the turf. So this should be a positive for her, but the rail could make things a little bit tricky. And with the 5 runner-up efforts, you just start wondering at some point, is a horse who doesn't mind settling for second. I like Nene Diamond. Just feel like lightly raced with some upside. The 2 dirt starts are good. I think she showed us she can pass horses a little bit last time out. Just felt like she was maybe facing a couple horses that were in good form. We saw the runner-up come out of that race and win next time out. It's a horse who's an 8-time winner who's really good at the level. So if you're pretty close to Wish They All Could Be, that's a nice measuring stick for being able to win a race at this level. I'll put Nene Diamond on top. I went 4-1 as my top tier. Others that I thought were interesting that you may want to include, the 9 Barbera. Not that much speed in this race. I could see her being just aggressive from the outside. 6.5 concerns me a bit for her, though. And that's really not the case for the 1 Stop Digging. Probably not for the 4 Nene Diamond as much either. And then maybe 2 and 3 would be underneath horses. Berry Valley, who comes down from Pleasanton. Hasn't been facing big fields, though, so it's sort of tough to figure where that stacks up. But I think she's been very honest overall, pretty versatile. Big Pop won a debut, but that was back in February. Beat a couple of next out winners. It was a good effort visually, too. Moved up to the lead without really being asked, and then went on with it. I'm going to go 4-1. Others that you might look to use, 9 Barbera, the 3 Big Pop, and the 2 Berry Valley. Moving to the 5th race. Mile on the turf course, optional 50, first level allowance. Just a couple things to note. If the 13 draws in, you want to include Sariha, who's in very nice form. So first thing to mention, I like the 4 Wordplay. Let's watch Wordplay's race last time out. So we're going to be looking at Wordplay, who's the 9. I mentioned Sariha just a moment ago. She's also in this race. She's the 11 who ends up winning. So we're watching the replay of the 9 back right here. So you can see Wordplay is a little bit slow coming out of the gate, and then is going to go down towards the inside. So already you like saving ground when you bet a horse like this, but you just get worried when you're behind 4, 5, 6 horses and you're down on the inside because one of them just staying inside and not getting off the rail and you're in real trouble. But Wordplay at this point is not far out of it. Getting a pretty nice trip is 6th, only 3 lengths off or so. But you can see just is going to need some racing luck. And unfortunately, in this particular race, she doesn't get it. So this was her second start in the U.S. after having almost a year off. She's now going to be making her 3rd start. Look at her right now. She's loaded, the 9, in the blue, down on the inside. She kind of wants to go, but she has to back up because she's got nowhere to go. The 1's kind of backing up into her, and she can't go in between the 1 and the 4 because there's the 4's to the outside of her. So she's just waiting and having to back up. Look at the 1 kind of back up into her. Still nowhere to go for Wordplay. Waiting. waiting, nowhere to go, completely blocked. 11 comes over. Now she can follow the 11, but it's too late because Saria already got the jump. It's just too late here. And even the horse to the outside, like, look, the 9 tries to go down inside. It gets a little bit tired there late. I thought that's a very good effort from a horse who was unlucky, never got a chance to run. So, and looking at Saria to the outside, I think would be very live if she gets in. The runner-up that day, Strutting, was making the first start in the U.S. So, wordplay. I went 4 with the 1. So the 1's interesting too. Last time out was in the Autumn Miss. I think you could put a line through that race. It was the 2 starts back, going a mile in a similar spot, field of 11, saved ground down on the inside, finished 4th. Even the September 2nd race is not that bad. I'm using this one, Tiara Queen. 5 feels like one of the horses they'll all have to hold off. She will come running. The 6 horse is lightly raced with some upside. Bit interesting. Others, if you go a little deeper, the 11 to 12. But 4, 1, 5, 6 will be my top tier. I'll play the 4 wordplay to win if we can get anything over a 9 to 2-ish or so. Let's keep moving along. We go next to 6 straight graded stakes races 6 through 11, and all graded stakes pick 6. Come follow me on social media. I'm going to put up a pick 6 ticket on Thursday after the scratches come in. So the LEF Pink Kai is not the strongest race in the world. And I think American Admiral actually has a chance in here. You know, this is a 6-year-old who had a long layoff. He had a layoff of over a year. So if you look at the race right before he went to the bench, he was behind horses named Practical Move, rest in peace. That's a grade 1 winner who won the Santa Anita Derby. It was really good. And New Grange, that's also a graded stakes winner, a multiple graded stakes winner. So he's in a tough field. It's a small field. Then he goes to the bench. He shows back up. He needs the race. On November the 16th at Pleasanton, I thought he ran really well. Beat a horse named Lamas. That's the 5. Lamas is a multiple graded stakes winner. And look at American Admiral's best speed figures, like 95, 98. Can he take one more step forward in the 3rd start of his pattern right now, 3rd start back of the form cycle, and get back up to the mid-90s? If so, that's competitive with this group. And this group has a lot of question marks. You've got Ashcroft, who hasn't raced since April. JB Strikes Back has won 2 in a row, but against a lot softer. Now, big step up. Express Train is a 7-year-old. He has not won since March of 2022. 0 for his last 5, but way back to March of 2022. You've got Lamas, who American Admiral just beat. Katana is one of the horses to beat. He's really solid. He fits very well in here because he comes out of races against better. The California Crown, he was behind Subsanador, National Treasure, and Newgate. He's behind Full Serrano, Post Time, Domestic Product in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. No shame in finishing 5th in there. He likes Santa Anita. 1.25 miles is just too far for him in the Pacific Classic. Eliminate that race. He's very solid. I think he's probably the horse to beat. You got Tarantino, who's been in very nice form as of late. They've been just riding him aggressively, and now he's won 2 of his 3 starts since coming into the Peter Urton barn. You have to feel like he's going to be a player on the front end. He was also in a race that set up well for horses coming from off the pace last time out, a race won by Skinner, and he battled back when he looked like he was done to win 2nd and outfinish Mixto. So I'm looking at this race with the 1 as the horse to bet. If he's over 6 to 1, I think that's really nice value on American Admiral. I'll look at the 6 and the 7 as the 2 to beat. I just don't know what to do with the 4 with Express Train. As a 7-year-old now, he's got a gap in his works too. I think, where is it? Looks like he was, let's see. No, so he's back in April races, back in July races, and then he works out in August, and then nothing until October. It just doesn't feel like things are all going that well for him right now. He went 1, 7, 6, 5. Moving to the San Gabriel, race number 7 in here. Well, this is Johannes. They'll all have to be in really, really career form to contend with Johannes. I do think Easter's a little interesting. He ran well last time out after a couple races where he just didn't fire his best, and he was facing tough against Johannes in all of them. So is he good enough to turn the tables on a horse like Johannes? We'll see. But I think he's going to show up with a really good effort. You've got the 8, 911 Turbo, who I've started to warm up a little more to because I thought that 1.5 mile race was very good last time out. There's not that much speed in here. I think it's between him and Cabo Spirit. And SEAL Team was sitting a really nice trip. At the top of the lane, he looked like he was going to win. And then he just kind of hung a little bit. It wasn't a bad effort. It was a career best based on speed figures. So don't just dismiss him because you're a little disappointed. May have just moved a tad early because he was so live and loaded. So the 4 is the one to beat, no doubt about it, Johannes. I think the 8 is kind of interesting to include. I think the 9 is kind of interesting to include if you're going a little deeper. And the 2, Easter, those would be the ones that I'm kind of starting with. I'd also look towards Mi Hermano Ramon, who's just in such good form right now, if you're looking for another horse to include. Cabo Spirit's a fun bottom of the tries horse because there isn't that much speed in here. He could hang around and maybe get a slice. The 4, Johannes, is on top. Maybe an interesting horse like the 2, Easter, can show back up, or the horses towards the outside, the 8 and the 9, maybe they offer you a little bit of value in here. Others in great form, the 7, Mi Hermano Ramon. And then you have Cabo Spirit, who's kind of an interesting underneath horse at a big price. Let's get to the 8th race. It's the Grade 1 Malibu. You have Mystic Dan, the Kentucky Derby winner, showing up. You have Ben Tornado, the runner-up from the Breeders' Cup Sprint. You've got a Bob Baffert runner named Pilot Commander, who's been no worse than second. Winterfell comes back into the Bob Baffert barn after heading over to the East Coast and winning 3 in a row at Parks and Laurel. I think Senior Officer is going to scratch out of this race from what I read. Imagination was the San Felipe winner, was the runner-up in the Santa Anita Derby, and we saw him in the Preakness. And Mystic Dan, Kentucky Derby winner, Preakness runner-up, has not run since the Belmont, and he's now going to cut all the way back to 7 furlongs for this one. You've got Stronghold, the Santa Anita Derby winner. He's has not raced since he was second in the Pennsylvania Derby, and he was second before that in the Indiana Derby. And Raging Torrent rounds out the field, who I like. He drew the inside in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Now he gets to go to the outside here. And I think that the trip will just help him. He actually has the top buyer speed figure in the field with his 104. So he's capable of a big effort. Second start back, he'll be a little bit sharper. And with the outside draw, I don't think he wants to be coming from off the pace, but I feel like he can sit a little bit if he had to. And he's a sprinter. This is his game. Horses like Stronghold and Mystic Dan, they're maybe talented enough to overcome it, but I think they're better going a little longer. The 1, Ben Tornado, really good sprinter, super honest, grade 2 winner. 7 furlongs from the rail, though, might be a little tough for him. And then probably Stronghold for me, but it's going to start with Raging Torrent. Respect Mystic Dan, respect Stronghold, and Ben Tornado. Try to definitely get the 8 Raging Torrent in the mix. Moving to race number 9. This one is the Grade 2 Mathis Mile. King of Gosford is the heavy favorite on the morning line in here. I thought that the 5 Stay Hot probably should have been a little closer to the 1 King of Gosford, when you look at the price between the two, Stay Hot's actually defeated King of Gosford. Let's watch the race last time out that they both come out of. They were in the Hollywood Derby. King of Gosford was second. Stay Hot finished fourth in that Hollywood Derby. Oh, having a tough one with the loading there. So we got King of Gosford and
Break of it on is going up, and then hard-headed between horses.
Gosford's the 5. Stay Hot is the 1. So we can get a little farther and see they're sitting like right next to each other. Oh, I had a little tech issue on that one. Let's try that one more time.
Stay Hot, and they're coming
okay,
to the
so
top of the stretch.
You can see them sitting kind of right next to each other, the 1 and the 5. And basically, they both just are waiting inside. They both are being forced to wait. And that's just the difference between placing here. King of Gosford gets the jump on Stay Hot. The 5 gets to move while Stay Hot has to wait. King of Gosford comes around. Stay Hot goes down to the inside. And they end up finishing like a quarter of a length away from each other. So, I mean, I thought they both ran pretty well in here. If I see two horses that are not separated by all that much, I'm always going to go for the horse that's going to be the better price. So I like Stay Hot in here. And he can get closer than he's been recently. Hernandez jumps aboard. Let's show a little more of that positional speed that he used to have. The 6 horse, Heart-Headed. I upgrade because there's not that much early speed in this race. So I could see him being aggressive. He got a good trip on October the 31st when he was second behind King of Gosford. That type of effort. And I'll also look at the 4, Siennois, underneath, who got a great ride from Fresu last time out. Just saved all the ground on the inside, came rolling. But usually when you get that type of a ride, you don't want to play a horse back because it's hard to be that efficient again, where everything goes right for you in a race. Doesn't mean you can't win in a different way. But the 5 on top of the 1, the 6, Heart-Headed, and the 4, Siennois. Let's move to race number 10, the Grade 1 La Brea, one of the best races on the card. It is so deep. You look at every horse in this race, I honestly think could win. You've got a Bob Baffert Splendora who's won 2 in a row by open lengths. Accuracy has won 2 in a row by 15 and 7 1/4. She earned a 107 Buyer speed figure back in October. Kinza is multiple graded stakes placed. She just hasn't run since April, but she is very, very talented. She's 3 for 4. Sugarfish is now a multiple graded stakes winner. She won the Summertime Oaks, and then she won the Zenyatta. She didn't even run all that poorly in the Breeders' Cup. She was just a little overmatched there. She fits with this group. Ultimate Authority, probably one of the few that is in a little tough right now, but she's going to make her second start back off the bench. She's been into the 90 Buyer speed figures a couple times. You've got graded stakes winner Copian, who hasn't raced since April. Very talented filly. But the one I like is the 7-1 Magic filly. I just think she's going to get the best trip in here of any of these. So she faced the Breeders' Cup fillies and mares, and now she gets to go back in with only 3-year-olds. She was the number 2 in the race that we're watching here. So when one stumbles, she's down there and she gets the rail draw. And she's actually pretty forward in here. But she doesn't want to go up on the inside and battle. So she just sort of backs off a little as not to be right up in the mix. But at this point, One Magic Filly is not even 2 lengths off. And trying to hold that position there. Down on the inside, she's 4th, 5th. And just getting the type of trip that I'd love to see her get in the La Brea. So One Magic Filly just waits for room, nowhere to go. She kind of has to back up a little bit as they're asking for more. Now she's right back in contention again, but she just has nowhere to go. There are 4 horses lined up in front of her. She can't go to her outside now because the 7's there. Now, is she going to win this race? I don't know, but she didn't even get a chance. And now she just starts kind of backing up because she's tired and she's just been kind of having to go up and down. She can't get through there anyway. I think it's very likely she could have been closer there. Can she get through? I don't know if she wins, but one Magic filly. It was only 10-1 in the Breeders' Cup filly and mare sprint. She gets back in with 3-year-olds here in the La Brea. She should get a fantastic trip sitting behind a lot of speed. Sandy Bottom beat Tamara in both of their first start back off a long layoff. Tamara, I like a little more because I think she can sit off. I'm a little worried with Sandy Bottom in here, who's only been one-dimensional. Look at all the other speed. Hope Road, multiple graded stakes winner. She's going to go. Outside, Cavalieri, she's going to go. You've got Copian, who wants to be forward. You've got Kinza, who's going to go. You've got Accuracy, who wants to be forward. You got Splendora, who's drawn on the inside and has to go. They should be flying. I'm looking for the off-the-pace horses. Give me the 7, One Magic filly. Give me the 10, Tamara. Give me of the speeds, I'd probably prefer Hope Road because she's drawn to the outside of them. But I just don't know how much anyone in this race really wants to sit off. The 4 is also a horse I'd throw into pick 4s and pick 5s, Sugarfish. She can pass horses here. She'll get the blinkers on. They could give her a little more focus, a little more help. Accuracy, the 2. She's a real wild card in here. She's been so impressive in her last couple. And then what do we do with Kinza? Tough to knock her overall form. I go 7, 10, 9, 4. I'm going to go a little deeper, 2 and the 3 for me. Just not sure the trips that they may get. Rounding things out, it's the grade 1 American Oaks. 1.25 miles on the turf for 3-year-old fillies. No doubt about it. The horse to beat is She Feels Pretty, who was extremely impressive in the QE2 Cup. A little disappointing in the Belmont Oaks and in the Lake Placid when she was favored in those races and got pretty good trips, just kind of couldn't put it all together. But she certainly did in the QE2 Cup, and she showed us she can get the 1 1/8, and probably shouldn't be an issue for her going 1.25 miles in here. It's been a great year for trainer Cherie DeVoe. Won't be a big price, but She Feels Pretty will be very, very tough. I thought the 4 and the 5 were the others. Watchtower was impressive in that autumn miss last time out, and her overall body of work is very, very good. Didn't fire in the debut at Kentucky Downs. Everything else is a good performance. And the 4, Catherine and Marissa, how many knocks do you have for her turf races? And what's great is that she's been 1.25 miles. She ran 1 mile and 5/16 at Kentucky last time out. And if you look at Cinderella's Dream, that's the horse that defeated She Feels Pretty. So the same running, kind of common opponent. That is opening day at Santa Anita. Best of luck to everyone playing the races on opening day. Happy holidays again. Merry Christmas to everyone out there. Hope you have a great time opening presents and celebrating with your family and your friends. A couple other things to remember for opening day at Santa Anita. That big $1,500 Santa Anita opening day challenge. You can register at Xpressbet. You can play at Santa Anita or at Xpressbet. And DRF, they've got you covered. Everything you need all throughout the meet at Santa Anita. Let's make some money on opening day. Best of luck.